What up? What's good? What's hood? Kevin Dee TV back here in full effect. Before I break down this next movie, y'all know exactly what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell to get notifications on all the future movies that I will be breaking down. And if you want to donate, click on the links in the description below. And if there's any movies that you feel that I need to break down, leave them down in the comment section and we'll break it down together somewhere in the near future. Now, the movie that I'm breaking down today is, to me, was a really funny movie, and at the end of the day, a lot of people didn't think that this movie was too funny. A lot of people thought it was corny because of certain aspects of the movie, and I understand that. But the movie I'm breaking down today is the movie Bulworth with Warren Beatty and Halle Berry and, pretty much an all cast of characters. All-star cast, I should say, excuse me. But the reason why I'm breaking down this movie is because of the simple fact that Warren Beatty was showing us in Bulworth that what happens to politicians when they decide to tell the truth. I mean, that's as simple as it goes. I mean, you got to admit, yes, in some cases, to some people, it was a corny movie. I get that. But at the same time, I watch movies mostly pretty much for the science behind it, not necessarily just the comedic aspect or the action-packed aspect or special effects and things like that. I try to look at it what the movie is trying to show us and what message it's trying to bring on top of just the entertainment aspect of things. But when it comes to Bulworth, as I said just a few seconds earlier, he showed us what happens when politicians of that high caliber decide to go rogue and start telling the truth. Now, you look at the first part of the movie, he's sitting in his office alone in Washington. It's raining outside and he's pretty much sitting to himself crying. He's feeling suicidal because of the simple fact, to me, it's a lot of factors. Number one, I think it was because of the simple fact is that he knew that he sold out a long time ago to get to where he's at. And, deep down inside, it made him feel bad. Number one. Number two, as you see later on in the movie, his family life was in shambles. His wife really didn't want nothing to do with him. She was messing around with another guy. His daughter was away on college, and I think she didn't really like him like that either. He was just sending her money just to make sure she was okay, and stuff like that. And if you look at the wall on his wall, what was seen, all the political leaders that he was involved with back in those days, like Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and he even had Malcolm X on his wall. And he's dealt with Huey P. Newton of the Black Panthers. At one time, Jay Bulworth was a guy that was really down for civil rights and down to try to help us black folks, get somewhere within the civil rights movement and other movements that were going on, Black Power movement and stuff like that. So I think it was a combination of all of those things why he felt suicidal, and you can't blame him, at that point in the game, That's why when the insurance person, played by Paul Sorvino, he asked him to take out a $10 million, life insurance policy for his daughter. 2.5 each, if I remember correctly. And, and pretty much he was, hiring a guy to hire somebody to kill him, on his way, during the campaign or whatever he was doing out there, going out for his campaign tour out there in California when he went to the church and he was going here and there, he was hiring this guy to get him killed somewhere along the line. And, you know, he felt at that point in his life, he pretty much had nothing to lose. He thought he was pretty much going to lose to the new guy that he was the current nominee that was going against him. And, you know, he pretty much thought his career was over with. And, you know, where did he really go with it? You know, he was, you know, so by that time he had gotten back to California, he just said, what the hell? Might as well tell you what it is. You know, just like the first part. And everything that he said in the movie, for the most part, whether he was rapping or just sounded like he was, you know, talking disoriented because he didn't eat for days, he didn't sleep for days. So a lot of the stuff that you would think he was saying, you know, was a result of not getting no sleep, being delirious, and then a combination of other things. But I love the part when he was in the church, when John Witherspoon was the, you know, the Rev or whatnot. And, you know, certain black folks were standing up in the crowd and they pretty much was asking him questions about when, you know, such and such and such was supposed to be signed or passed. How come it didn't, you know? And he pretty much kept it funky with them, with all of them, and said, yo, you know, yeah, we talked about it. You know, we was all, you know, Bush, Clinton, all of us, we all got together, took our pictures, you know, and then, you know, we pretty much brought it up. And, you know, after I brought it up, you know, we pretty much forgot about it, you know. Then the next person asked him, asked him another question. And then he said, you don't really, you know, contribute any money to my campaign. Now, that's the thing that most people need to understand about politics. When a certain person is getting hired in office, and then those same companies can do a lot of crooked stuff behind the scenes, and then you notice that person doesn't do anything about it, it's because 9 times out of 10, they've been bought. They've been bought, you know? And he pretty much told those black folks in the church, like, yo, at the end of the day, y'all motherfuckers don't put no damn money into my campaign, so why should I do anything for you? Same thing I was saying about Obama and black folks. Black folks were the only ones who didn't come to Obama and say, yo, if you want our vote, what you gonna do for us? Everybody else did it. That's why when Obama got in office, he was taking care of everybody else except black folks. Why? Because black folks didn't care. All they saw was a black dude smoking a cigarette, playing a little ball, you know, shooting a little pool. He didn't know his father. All of a sudden, every brother in America could relate, and that's why he ended up getting in office. But nobody asked what was he going to do for us. Not as far as jobs is concerned, not as far as the hood is concerned, none of that. Pretty much what I'm saying is, if you don't donate anything to his campaign or demand why we should vote for you, what you going to do for us if we vote for you, then 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get taken care of. You know, that's pretty much what he was saying, you know. And, you know, and then one of them other people stood up and asked, oh, so you trying to say that the, you know what I'm saying, the government or the Republican Party doesn't care about African Americans or the Democrats or whoever, you know what I'm saying, that she was saying. And he was like, isn't it obvious? He was like, yo, half of your kids are out of work and the other half are in jail. Do you see any other Democrat doing anything about it? Certainly not me. You know? And he was like, what you going to do, vote Republican? Come on, you're not going to vote Republican. Come on, let's play a spade here. He was like, y'all can have a billion-man march if you don't put down more liquor and chicken wings and stop running behind somebody like a guy who stabs his wife. You're never going to get rid of somebody like me. When I heard that, I was like, wow. And then deep down inside, that's how most politicians think. But they don't have the guts to come out and say some stuff like that. Now, and just like when he went to another retreat where he was meeting with a whole bunch of, you know, upscale Jewish people, you know, who was like running Hollywood and you know, and things like that. And and he was pretty much telling all of them like it is. He was pretty much saying how crappy their films were and, you know, they spend so much money on these films and, you know, and he was like how a lot of them just aren't good, aren't they? You know, and even though these are the same people he was supposed to go to help him, to help, you know, fund money for his campaign, he's talking trash against them. talking about how they movies is whack and how they spending all this, unnecessary money making these films, and then, you know what I'm saying, they ain't really got good product, and all they wanted to know is whether or not they should dub down certain aspects of the films that they was, making, like, sex or, violence and stuff like that. But I mean, Bulworth was just going in on everybody about, and I love the part why he was just stuffing his face, and he went to the one of the service, and he was like, yeah, and I'm gonna ask you one question, and be honest with me, okay? Do you have any more of those crispy crab cakes? I mean, like really, And then the whole time, he was like, he was going on about how they were mostly Jews, and he was like, "Oh no, don't worry about it. We got you. As far as my speech is concerned, I'm pretty sure my boy Murphy here got something bad in here about Farrakhan in here for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like he was just keeping it a little bit too funky. Now, I love the part where they went to the club and they was dancing, and what got me most about it was the fact that he was standing there when the brother was smoking a blunt, and he stood there and looked at him, and the brother just passed him the blunt, and he started smoking it. Now, that part to me, I was laughing my ass off, only due to the fact that I was like, yo, ain't no way in hell I thought I would see this. Because, see, me, when I was younger, back when I was like 7 or 8, this is like a few years before, Bulworth, and I saw him in Dick Tracy, and I'm like, I was just, how you kids, how kids are, So when I saw him in this movie a few years later, smoking a blunt, and he kind of looked the same, just without the yellow hat and the yellow trench coat, and the yellow in the yellow coat. So it kind of just made me laugh, but it was just funny to me, But pretty much the whole time he was going on about how the insurance companies were screwing people over, about how many cents they were taking out of the dollar and all of that stuff. And at the end of the day, Paul Sorvino's character, who was, I guess one of the head guys in charge of the whole insurance industry, he was, breaking down earlier to him how ain't no way in hell that I would want to give black folks insurance, because, and then he said that it's not black folks that got good jobs. Like he was talking about Martin Luther King, Colin Powell, Michael Jordan. He was like, I ain't got no problem with these people. These people got good jobs. But you really think I should give a policy to some, some loud rap singing punk who ain't gonna do nothing more than sit on his ass all day and don't do nothing? And I'm supposed to give him insurance. Why? So he can, so he can lay back and smoke his crack and get AIDS or some crap that he was saying. And I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. But, and he kept saying it over and over again. Now, you fast forward to another meeting that he had later on that morning, because they were in the club all night dancing, acting crazy. And I love the part when he was on the, on the DJ, on the mix thing, you know what I'm saying, doing his little mix, you know what I'm saying? And I love the part when he was like, "What's side?" I mean, I know to a lot of people it was corny, but to me, I thought it was funny. And then you fast forward to that same morning when he was supposed to be at another gathering, and, he decided to stand up and say something. He was like, he started rapping. And then, like, what he said, that first line he said was some real shit, where he said, "One man, one vote." Now, is that really real? The name of our game is Let's Make a Deal. Now, people have the problems, the have nots, but the ones who make me rich will pay for 30-second spots. I'm like, and then he went into, the oil companies about how they don't care. He was going into the banks and how they don't care, and how they just taking money, and how taxpayers are taking it in the rear. And you know what I mean? He was just breaking it all down. And then he even, pointed out the insurance companies, and you look at Paul Sorvino's face, he was pissed. He was pissed with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, oh, this motherfucker actually, they're exposing us. Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, he's supposed to, he's supposed to be under our wing. You know what I'm saying? Now this guy talking, exposing all of us. And even in the debate later on in the movie with the guy that he was going against, he was saying the same thing. You know, he was breaking down how much, like I said before, how many cents was coming out of every dollar, you know, from insurance companies and other entities within the government and stuff like that. So that's what I mean. And he felt that, you know, hell, since I'm gonna kill myself anyway or get myself killed, I might as well tell the truth in a little bit of time that I'm still alive. You know. And the whole time he hanging around Halle Berry and her homegirls, and they started to want to tag along because they acted like they wanted to be part of the campaign. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But but come to find out, the whole time, Nina, Halle Berry's character, was the one who was supposed to kill him. But every time she had a chance, something always came about, and so she had to figure out another way to do it because the main guy who he asked to hire her in the first place was just like, yo, what the hell? All you're supposed to do was push him off a balcony. And you couldn't even do that, So he gave her the option, either you do it yourself or I'm gonna have somebody else do it. So she had no choice because her brother was involved in some stuff, and he came to the club, and the main guy that was running the club, LD, played by, Don Cheadle, he was pretty much telling her that, if your brother don't give me my money, I'm gonna break his legs, or probably even worse, and and she was like, I'm gonna get you your money, and this is how she was trying to get her money, by killing Bulworth. But of course that didn't work out, you know what I'm saying? So he goes to all of his debates and stuff like that. And the one person who everybody was shocked of all the things that he was saying, but the one person that wanted him on his show that he didn't get a chance to was Larry King. And Larry King, to me, is like one of the more real, media personalities, I love the fact that he's independent now doing his thing. Like, he ain't on CNN, he ain't on no networks, even networks that claim they give independent news. Larry King ain't even messing with them. He pretty much just like, okay, I'm just doing me, but he was the only one that was telling his dude Murphy that, I want him on my show, because he told him, he was like, people will love this. People are getting sick and tired of all of this baloney. They was a lot of people started feeling Bulworth due to the fact that he was telling the truth. For the first time, they was like, damn, okay, here's a senator, you know what I'm saying, who's really actually telling the truth. And then you can start seeing his inner self coming back out. That's why, the movie poster, where his mouth opens and then you see a hip hop him coming out. That's pretty much what he was all along. But, when he started feeling suicidal, this is what came out, because this is who he was the whole damn time. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he was meant to wear the hip hop clothes and, and be talking all, hip hop and stuff, but I'm saying that he was down with black folks at one point. And it's like he pretty much had to go left in order for his career to soar. But then now he's at a point in his life, as I said before, where it's not really going nowhere and it's pretty much coming to an end. So he, and a lot of other things in his life was coming to an end. That's why he felt suicidal. But by the time he was, hanging around Nina, he started feeling a little different about things, and actually with her around, it made him want to, do it in a sense of rap and telling the truth, So I love the movie only due to the fact that, like I said before, and by the time he realized that, he didn't want to die, and that was damn near by the end of the movie where he was telling Nina this, and then she pulled out the gun on him, and then she told him what happened, because he had already tried to, call off the hit, so to speak. He called it the Weekend Research Project, but he called the dude Vinny and was like, yo, I ain't trying to die no more. Just whoever the hell you got, doing the hit, just, tell them that it's good. I'll give you an extra 50,000, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just take the money and keep it moving. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So He ends up doing all that. And, pretty much he gets some sleep. After gotta hide out now, and he's pretty much, he hides out at Nina's house. And when he was running from the press, he had fell into some water and pretty much messed up his suit. That's why when he got to her house, they was like, give the man some pants, you know what I'm saying, and gave him some shit, and that's how he ended up looking like, like a white dude from the hood, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I just thought that was funny, and how he was going at it with the cops, and how he was defending the little black kids in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Even though they had guns on them, they were selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? He still defended them kids. Where any other politician in these days would have been like, yeah, arrest them. You know what I mean? Like, they just arrested them all day and just called it a day. And that's pretty much how it would have been. But Bulworth was always one of those guys who was down to try to help black people. But unfortunately, when it comes to the system that you're in, especially when you're in that kind of position, as senator, you have to, unfortunately, go by certain, rules that we don't know about behind the scenes in order for things to move smoothly, and he hides out for a little bit. And then, when he finally wakes up, he's back to his old self and all that other good stuff. He didn't even realize what was going on because the poles were rising through the roof. You know what I mean? They couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Everybody couldn't believe it. They thought that, he was pretty much putting himself in the hole by doing this, but it was the total opposite. If anything, everybody started loving him because of the way he was keeping it funky, with every person going on. And going back to the debate that he had with the guy who was running up for senator, he was asking the people who were asking the questions, he was like, why are you here? He's like, you're here because you're getting paid a lot of money, right? She's like, I beg your pardon? He's like, oh, come on. We all, some rich guys getting paid by really rich guys, to help us, course our campaign. And he was like, and the one thing that caught me more than anything, when he said, Republicans, Democrats, what the hell? It's you know what I'm saying? It's all the same. It's a club. So why don't we just have a drink? And that's what he was having a drink in the middle of the debate. That's why I was like, yo, he is stupid as hell. But everything he was saying was the truth. Democrats, Republicans, it really doesn't matter. As I always say before, I call them the Republicrats. Well, what's the symbol of the United States of America? The bald eagle, right? Then you got a left wing and a right wing. The bird cannot fly if the two, wings are not flapping together. There's no way that the eagle can soar and fly across the sky if one wing was broken or the other wing just refused to work. It doesn't go like that. It's either you work together or you don't. They always have a tendency of acting like they hate each other and acting like, they want to destroy each other in the eyes of the public. But then they also show you in plain sight how these same people, like especially ones who run for president, they always be talking trash and shit against one another. But then at the same time, these are the same people that'll get up at a dinner, a gala or whatever the hell they call it, and they'll all sit there and dress in the same tuxedos looking like they're part of the same gang. But then, they talking, trash to one another, talking about, I'm going to destroy you, I'm taking over the office, or whatever the hell, And that's what I'm saying. So that's why by the end of the movie, even though he didn't want to die no more, and he felt that, he didn't really have a chance with Nina, not just because of his age, but because of his, because of the fact that he was white. He thought that they probably couldn't have a future together and she was trying to convince him otherwise, and just when he thought that shit was cool and, he was, he got shot, and he collapsed to the floor with one shot to the chest. You see, and it's, and in all honesty, I hate to compare this, but if you ask me, that kind of remind me of Martin Luther King when he got shot in the neck, because You see how everybody was pointing at a certain area, but you know, the guy who was playing the homeless dude, you know, was the only one, because, you know, Don Cheadle was raising his gun. He was like, where that shot come from, man? You know? And the homeless person kept telling Bulworth through the whole movie, like, you got to be a spirit, not a ghost. You know, be somebody that is there, not there. You know, in other words, you got to sing. You got to let people hear you. You know, let your voice be heard. That's what he was pretty much telling them, you know, and he was doing that. But just when he was trying to be suicidal and find a way to kill himself without actually doing it himself, you know, once he, you know, made sure that didn't happen, he still ended up getting killed for the main reason, and that was telling the truth, you know. And I break down this movie shortly and since, just to give people an indication of what happens when people like Bulworth or anybody who's came throughout the last few decades trying to give us the nothing but the nitty gritty truth, you know, and they ended up getting murdered, reputations ruined, their credibility ruined, you know. I can go on and on and on. And I can safely say that even though I wasn't a high profile person like these people I just mentioned, I still was a victim of that, just due to the fact of me trying to tell the truth. So even though I wasn't in the spotlight for everybody to see it, trust me, I've been through it myself. The only difference is that I survived it. You know, I didn't come out dead, you know, telling the things that I've been saying. But at the end of the day, that's just pretty much what it is. You know, Bulworth, although, like I said to some, it may be a corny movie, but at the end of the day, people need to realize that this is what happens. And only the strongest of the strong are those who are willing, whether they feel like their life is over with or they just somebody that's just like, hey, I don't care if I do die saying this, I'm going to say it anyway. You know, like a Malcolm X, or in our time, like a Tupac, or, you know, a Khalid Muhammad. You know, those guys didn't care about dying. Those guys didn't care about dying. All they cared about was telling us the truth. That's all they cared about. They didn't care about nothing else. You know, with that being said, as I said before, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell, and you'll get a notification on the next movie that I'll break down. Until then, I love you all, and I will see you next time. Peace and love.